the bill, or Senate Bill 356. There's a sign-up sheet up here, and we're going to get started in just a moment here. Let me call the State Properties Committee to order, and I'm going to ask Representative Perkle if he will lead us in prayer here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bow with me, if you will. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I do thank you so much for this day and for your blessings, and Lord, for this group that we will talk about today, and for this bill. I pray that you'll grant us wisdom, Lord, in all things, and help us to represent the good folks of this great state in a mighty way. In your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. Senator, if you'll make your way to the podium, please. And ladies and gentlemen of the committee, this is Senate Bill 356, and it's relating to the Georgia Commission on the Holocaust. And we're going to have members coming in. Some of them are just getting out of other committees, and but we're going to let you go ahead and explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Kay Kirkpatrick from the Senate, from District 32, and I'm bringing to you Senate Bill 356, which is related to the Commission on the Holocaust. I want to thank you for the opportunity to present this, and I want to acknowledge Ms. Sally Levine, who is the director of the Commission on the Holocaust, who's with us today. And wanted to tell you that the commission has been in place since 1986, but it became an official state agency in 1996. Their mission is to preserve the memory of the Holocaust and to promote understanding of the history. Their current location is in Sandy Springs, where they have a great Anne Frank exhibit that I would encourage you to visit. I was asked last summer to serve as a liaison to the commission. Since that time, I've been working to try to increase their visibility and help them deliver their mission. This bill does three things. First, it increases the connection between the legislature and the commission by having representation from both parties and both chambers. This should foster greater synergy and understanding. Secondly, it enables development of an official state of Georgia monument or memorial to the Holocaust that would be open to the public and highly visible to citizens and visitors from all over the state, the country, and the world. The monument would be funded with private donations and would have the full weight of the state behind it. This would serve to increase the visibility of the commission and would commemorate the millions of victims of the Holocaust genocide, including 6 million Jews before and during after World War II. Thirdly, it transfers the commission from the Secretary of State to the Department of Community Affairs for administrative purposes. This department is where other community-based projects are housed and was responsible for the development of the Martin Luther King Jr. statue. This should give the commission better long-term stability and visibility. The commission would have the same level of resources, if not more, than they presently have for operations. In summary, this bill is designed to increase awareness of and support for the Commission on the Holocaust. I would appreciate favorable consideration from the committee, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator. We appreciate you bringing this important piece of legislation to us. I have visited, when I was in Israel, I visited their memorial and their museum there. And when I was in the Netherlands, I was able to visit the Anne Frank home there. And I appreciate you explaining to the members about the what this entails. And I'm going to open it up now to any member that wishes to ask any questions of the senator. Representative Perkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator, if I will, I'm not the best reader in the world. I do enjoy reading, but in the brochure that we were given, it mentions the commission of the Georgia Commission on the Holocaust consists of 15 members. Is it 15 members? And we're
That's
looking
correct.
here at 2. Is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay.
The legislative appointees to the commission would not be a normal part of the commission's board, and they would simply serve as legislative oversight. There would be one majority and one minority member from the Senate and one majority and minority from the House.
Okay.
So there would be a total of 4.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, one more. And I do notice now, I thought, looking through my glasses, that on line 16 it was B, it was A and then B, but I see line 16 is actually subbed G. And so I'm assuming there are other, there's other verbiage somewhere on this. So this is just the legislative oversight. We'll have one majority, one minority, one majority, one minority.
That's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
Are there other questions? Who's 3? Okay, I got you. Representative Elam.
Just real simple. When we talk about legislative oversight, sometimes we ask for that, and sometimes the organization that's producing asks for it. So who's generating this request that we have this oversight? Us or them?
This is actually coming from the legislature. However, I think that in a few moments you'll hear the director testify about the fact that they agree with raising the connection between the legislature and the commission.
Thank you. At this time, I think we will move to the individuals that have signed up to speak. If you'll just stay up there in case we need to ask you a question. Okay.
Thank you.
Sally Levine. And you're with the Georgia Commission on the Holocaust, and we're happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and representatives. I'm Sally Levine, and I'm the Executive Director of the Georgia Commission on the Holocaust. I've been a classroom teacher for over 20 years. I am a teacher fellow and regional educator for the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, as well as the Executive Director of our Georgia Commission on the Holocaust. Georgia Commission on the Holocaust is a secular agency, and we are nonpartisan. So having input from representatives and senators from both sides of the aisle is helpful to us in terms of learning about what the communities all over Georgia need. Our mission is not only to memorialize and commemorate the victims and the rescuers and survivors and liberators of the Holocaust, but also to educate our citizens about what their role is as citizens in a democracy and how democracies can be fragile and how they have to participate. We also want to teach them about critical thinking and about making good choices, and we use the Holocaust as an example of that. Our constituents are citizens all over the state. We work with schools and universities and teachers. We also work with law enforcement and the military. We work with the YMCAs. We work with community groups. We work with churches and synagogues. So our constituency is broad and wide, and any input that we can get from people who are local and on the ground is really helpful to us. We are very much in support of this bill. We envision a memorial or a monument that will stand to memorialize and will also provide some education as well. So we'll be looking at how we can do that and make this unique. The fact that we are a secular organization is also important, because this will be a monument, a memorial, a piece of education, again, for all of our citizens, not just for one community. So we are very much in support of this bill, and we thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about it, and I hope that you will support it as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions for her? Representative, oh, no.
Maybe from us, are we putting state dollars into the commission now?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how much those are?
Yes, we're hoping that number will change with the 19 budget. Right now, it's about $269,000.
And we pay for most of our programming and for our exhibition through donations that we get, either through grants or donations. So
And-
that's how we pay for that.
A follow-up question?
Certainly.
But I see for the monument, though, that's strictly going to be private donation. Okay.
It's a good clarification there. Thank you on that. Are there any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much. Senator, just stay, and I think we have one other person, Andy Bowman.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for having this discussion today. I want to acknowledge Senator Kirkpatrick, my representative Deborah Silcox. I am a citizen of Sandy Springs, a member of the Georgia Holocaust Commission, and a member of the Sandy Springs City Council. However, I'm here in my personal capacity today to lend support to this bill. I'd like to acknowledge also the Sandy Springs Mayor, Rusty Paul, who's here. We are proud to host the Anne Frank exhibit, and I want to thank the chairman for your comments about your visit to Israel and to the Netherlands. I too have been to both locations, and there really are extraordinary experiences, and would encourage you as well in Washington to visit the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum as well. So I want to thank you for that. It's a privilege. I have two teenage children, a 14-year-old daughter who recently read the Diary of Anne Frank, and really provokes a great conversation, important conversation in our home. And it's, with we pass down knowledge to our children. Sometimes it's baseball statistics, as I like to do frequently, but also it's important topics like what happened with the Holocaust and wanting to never forget those events. We have still in this community a number of citizens whose lives were directly impacted with parents or great-grandparents who were lost or perished or who survived, although the number of survivors is dwindling at this point. But I want to thank you for your support. The community, I believe, the private citizens will roundly support this, and the money should be able to be raised for this important memorial. So I want to thank you.
Thank you. Just, we have one question for you. Mr. Clark.
Yeah, not a question, but just want to say that I've been to the memorial in D.C., and it was definitely an eye-opener or a great remembrance of, making sure people always remember the Holocaust and what happened when men and women do not stand up and defend those who don't have a voice. So anyways, thank you for what y'all do, and I definitely need to go visit the Anne Frank exhibit here in Georgia.
Well.
But thank you for what y'all do and getting that out to people, because we definitely can never forget about what happened.
Well, thank you. Also, I want to acknowledge Claire D'Agostino, our board chair as well, who I'm just a citizen speaking on behalf. They do all the work, so I'm trying to raise some kids. So I want to thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Senator, people do not realize the impact that the prisons had on the individuals until you go and you visit the prisons or the concentration camps that kept so many individuals and put so many people to death. I mean, you don't speak as you move from place to place. I mean, it's so emotional. I was completely drained the day that they carried me to Dachau, and it is absolutely one of the most moving things that you'll ever experience in your life on that. Do we have any other individual? And Representative Silcox, if you want to speak or anything, well, we're glad to always have you there on that. I'm going to recognize Representative Buckner. It's been a long day.
It has been. Well, at this time, if you are interested and willing, I would like to move do pass.
Okay, we will entertain the motion, and we do have a motion, and we do have a second to that. Do we have further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, those in favor of Senate Bill 356, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, it is unanimous. You are quite welcome, and if you'll see me before you leave here, do we have any other business coming before this committee? If not, if you need to sign up, the sheet there for the day, for this day, for the committee, please see David here. And if not, we stand adjourned.